13D.021 that permits a public body to hold a meeting via telephone or other electronic means due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For members of the public, the meeting is being live streamed on the City of Wyoming YouTube page. The Wyoming City Council meeting will be recorded as part of the public record. After each agenda item is read and staff gives a report on the agenda item, I will call upon each council member individually if they have questions on that particular item. If you wish to make a motion or second a motion, please state your name first. All votes on all items will be completed by a roll call to meet the standards for the state statute 13D.021. All right, and with that, we're going to do our Pledge of Allegiance, and that will be led by our veteran and member, Dennis Schilling. And if everybody could please mute except for member Schilling.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Linwood, do we have anybody for open forum tonight?
Mayor Iverson, we have no one for open forum.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to our agenda, approval of minutes. Number one, consider approving the minutes of the regular meeting of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council for April 6th, 2021. If we don't have any questions or comments, do we have a motion to approve?
Member Lugar, so moved.
Member Lugar makes the first. Do we have a second?
Member Schilling will second.
Member Schilling makes the second. We'll do roll call, please. Member Yeager. You're on mute, Linda.
Aye.
Member Onstead.
Aye.
Member Lugar.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is an aye. Number two on our agenda, to consider approving the minutes of the work session meeting of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council, April 7th, 2021. If there are no comments or questions, do we have a motion to approve?
Member Schilling, so moved.
Member Schilling makes that first. Do we have a second?
Member Onstead seconds.
Member Onstead makes that second. Roll call, please. Member Yeager.
Aye.
Member Onstead.
Aye.
Member Lugar.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Mayor Iverson is an aye. That does pass. We don't have any public hearings scheduled. We'll move on to the consent agenda. That would be number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Does anybody wish, I'm sorry, that would be 3 and 4. Does anybody wish to pull an item on the consent agenda? No, I will be talking about Officer Pavla's service later on at the end. So, all right, so I need a motion to approve the consent agenda number 3 and 4.
Onstead makes a motion.
All right, we got it at the same time. Good job, you guys. All right, Member Onstead, you want to make that first?
I'll make the first.
All right, and Member Schilling, you'll make the second.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so we'll do roll call on that, please. Member Lugar.
Aye.
Member Onstead.
Aye.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is an aye. All right, we'll move on to acknowledgements of reports of officers, boards, commissions, and department heads. That's number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 on our agenda. Do we have anybody who wishes to pull an item for further discussion? I actually would like number 5. I would like to talk about the siren on number 5. Is there any other communications? No, seeing none. All right. Chief Hoppy, if you could just give a brief, what do I say, talk about the siren and why we're doing what we're doing and how important that is, that would be great. I would appreciate that.
Absolutely, Madam Mayor and City Council. The siren at 259th Street in Flint, we're having some issues with it. It's originally to be replaced next year in 2022 as our normal replacement schedule for that siren. Since the startup, probably around January-ish, we've been having some problems with it from a reliability perspective. We're getting periodic fuse bursts on it. A vendor thought maybe it was going to be a power surge issue. So working with Public Works, we had our city electrical vendor come out and look at some of the wiring issues, found no problems with it. We had XL Energy come out to look at the power source, the phase 3 power source to it, to determine if maybe there was some power surging on the source that was causing the fuse strikes. They couldn't find any issues there, indicating that we have a stable power source going to the siren as well. I've brought the vendor back out this week to kind of go through it another time, to see if we can't really nail down what the issue is. Unfortunately, they can't identify it. And so as a result, we have a unreliable civil defense siren at 259th and Flint Avenue. Considering that this is up for replacement in 2022, I'm not comfortable trying to limp this through the summer. Therefore, we're going to exercise our emergency purchasing powers to have this siren replaced as soon as possible. I have been talking with the vendor. They do have a used siren that's 7 years old, which is going to be a little over $15,000. A new one is going to be just under $23,000. And so I've kind of been working with them back and forth to really decide which should be the better solution. The used one, although $7,000 cheaper, does have a 3-year warranty rather than a 5-year warranty. It was used in a community down in Iowa. They said they took it down because they wanted to go to a voice activated system. But I would still recommend, and I think I'm going to move towards a new siren rather than buying somebody's used, replaced, and refurbished siren, simply because this is a 30 to 40 year item that is part of our emergency notification system. So I'm much more comfortable putting up a new one rather than somebody else's product that's been pulled down and refurbished, just because this is one of those components within the city, similar to a fire truck, that we have to really assure 100% reliability. And I simply don't want to put the community at risk by shortening up the purchase by $7,000. So I'm more comfortable going with the more expensive, the new one, and we're going to be placing that order with that vendor tomorrow, and they'll give me a replacement time schedule to have that up. In the meantime, we'll just be watching that siren very closely, and if we see another fuse blow, we're just going to have to keep replacing or retripping the fuses until we can get that item replaced.
Okay, perfect. I just think for safety wise, I think it's important that people know we're taking care of it, that our residents know we're taking care of it, and their safety is of utmost importance, right? On this, especially with tornadoes and stuff. So thank you. I appreciate that report on that. And
Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Yep.
Chief Hoppy, would the issues with the siren explain why it's barely audible?
So that's going to be part of the issue that what we're noticing is that it sometimes you'll get a full audio sound out of it. Sometimes you're going to get not as loud, and sometimes it's just purely going to blow the fuse, and that's the reliability component of it. Not only that it may not trip and work, but it simply won't give out enough audible to cover what we have designated as our service area coverage. All of the sirens are strategically placed throughout the city to give us overlapping coverage to get as much coverage to all of our residents. And by losing that one, we create a hole within, kind of our siren coverage systems. So the vendor can't identify whether it's a motor issue, if it's a board issue, or if it's purely just worn out. So rather than trying to disassemble the siren and send component off by component off and have it down for an extended period of time to trace down what it is exactly, we're simply going to move the purchase forward from 2022 to 2021, because either way we would be there next year.
Okay, I just had noticed a difference in performance, so I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, and so have we, and that's kind of what led me originally to start diving into this to figure out what the problem is and whether we could extend the life another 12 months. And my recommendation is that we can't. The vendor is saying that it's going to be unreliable. So best solution is just move it forward and let's get it replaced for the safety of the community.
Thank you.
Chief Hobby, can I just ask one more question or have you make one more statement? There's kind of a a kind of a misinformation that you are supposed to be hearing those sirens inside your house, but that's really not the intent, correct?
That is correct. The tripping of the civil defense siren is to warn people when they're outside of their homes. The theory is, you know, with enough electronics and televisions and radios, you know, the civil defense warning component, you know, is broadcast through televisions and radios and everything else. That our greatest worry is that when you're outside of the home, when you have the least amount of protection from adverse weather. So it's designed to be heard outside of your home, not necessarily inside your home.
Okay, I had that question a couple times, so thank you for clearing up. I appreciate that. And I just want to note, actually for the record, the acknowledgement receipt of reports is actually 5 through 10. So I just wanted to clarify that if people are watching. All right, so we're on to number 11 on the agenda, which is the Communication East Viking Boulevard Utility Construction Project update. Does council want to hear an update on that? Or Mr. Linwood, did you want to give an update on that?
Mayor, I think it would make sense. Well, maybe wait till the end of the meeting and both myself and Engineer Erickson can kind of go with that project. Just an update for the council and the community as that is starting up on Monday, the 26th, as you've probably seen that signage now if you came through town. So we could wait till the end of the meeting and just do an update for the council.
Perfect. I think that's a great plan. All right, we'll move on to new business, which is number 12. Proclamation supporting application into the AARP network of age-friendly cities and communities initiative. Is that Ms. Dumas who's going to be talking to us about that?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mayor.
Yep.
Mayor, members of council, this item is introducing an opportunity to the council to participate in a program through the AARP called their Livable Communities, Age-Friendly Communities Program. And what this initiative is a partnership of local communities who are committed to advancing local policies, programs, and infrastructure to support people in their community aging in place. We have an aging population in Wyoming and Minnesota and the United States in general, and providing opportunities for those folks to continue living in their communities and being able to enjoy life in their communities is an important a role for cities to play to help facilitate that. Membership in the AARP network really serves to help provide some guidance for cities to pursue different avenues that can help support the wide variety of community components that help to support seniors as they continue to age in place. This can include things such as improving outdoor spaces and buildings, transportation options, senior housing, social opportunities, respect and social inclusion, engagement, communication, and providing community health services. A part of what this participation in this network includes is a commitment from the community, one, that supporting seniors is a value. It also is a commitment to including seniors in a process of reviewing how we do different processes of the city and make sure that we're considering the impacts on seniors as we're going through different processes. So they advocate for kind of a cyclical process of continuous improvement that incorporates that consideration and incorporates perspectives from seniors into our different processes as a city. So this can include community engagement, doing a needs assessment of the community to identify how we can best support seniors, developing an action plan based on those results, getting feedback from the AARP on what our findings are from that, and then implementation of that process. And that's something that once you complete it, you start it right back up again. It's something we continuously do because we can continuously be better. And participation in this program is specifically targeted on how we can support seniors. And within that, there's an acknowledgement that by supporting seniors, we're really supporting all ages in better and having better access and support in our community. So what's before you is 2 items. There's a proclamation affirming the values of supporting seniors in our community. And there's also a draft letter from the City Council to go as a part of the application to be a part of the Livable Communities program. And with that, I'll stand for questions.
All right, thank you. I will go around the room here for questions. Member Schilling.
I actually don't have any questions. I think this is kind of one of the things that we have talked about over the last couple of years in our council goals sessions. In fact, to make our city more available and more inclusive to the senior community that we currently have. I don't see anything in here that really flagged me. I think this is a good thing, and I have no problem with it, to be honest with you. So.
All right, thank you. Member Yeager.
Okay, how much is this going to cost? How much will it cost to join the program?
It does not have a membership fee included in the process.
But there is a membership fee.
No, there's no membership fee.
Okay. It says that we need to conduct a community needs assessment. How much will that cost?
That depends on what format the council is interested in doing. The city has different resources that we currently have to do some community surveys, such as Polko. If the council is interested in doing that more of an advanced survey, that could be a conversation, but that is kind of the next phase of the process to figure out some of the specifics of how we would implement the different steps. And it could also be something that changes over time. So as this is a cyclical process, if we try it one way the first time around and we decide we want some additional data or some additional context for some of the feedback that we get, we could look at some additional opportunities for expanded scientifically significant surveys, but if that was the route that the council wanted to go, there would likely be additional costs.
Yeah. If we should be doing such a needs assessment anyway, why does it have to be reviewed by AARP?
The review by the AARP is just providing some additional perspective and linking that in with some other community best practices. If they have anything that they would add and advise, it's really a resource tool. It's not necessarily something that pushes our hand one way or the other. It's just information that we can help to better serve our residents.
Okay. How about privacy of the data in our residents?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Can you rephrase?
I get a lot of literature from AARP, a lot of it, and it all has a price tag attached to it. Buy this, donate to that, lobby for this, and I never joined it because, being a senior now, I never joined it because I really didn't want my name to be given to every vendor under the sun for senior products. And while I love the idea of moving forward with, supporting our seniors, I'm leery of AARP and how much of this is simply another sales pitch or another way for AARP to get more information about our seniors to better solicit them.
Well, there's not a distribution of data to the AARP about specific residents in the community. This is more looking at the city's policy and city's approach to different projects and how we're incorporating practices that affect seniors. So it's not gaining data about individuals in our community that is then transferred back to the AARP.
Yeah, I just don't want all our seniors solicited out the wazoo with this. They already do that.
Yeah, there's no addresses, no data or names or anything like that goes to the AARP. This is not signing anybody up for any mail. That is not at all what this is about. This is about a network of local communities providing resources and support to one another to help advance best practices to support seniors.
What kind of publicity is AARP willing to give us for joining up with them?
The city of Wyoming would be listed along with the other Minnesota communities who have applied to become members of the network.
And do they ever turn anybody down?
I'm not familiar with that information.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Member Onstad.
I think that's a great program that really kind of highlights and gives guidance to our city to make it a even better community. Looking at some of the goals, the 8 avenues that they were talking about, I'm kind of wondering, where are we kind of sitting as a city so far, and how does that, what are some of the areas that we're looking at improving that we can see already?
I think that's an excellent question. And one of the things that I think our initial assessment would help to identify is where our strengths are and where our opportunities for improvement are. A part of the value of doing a type of assessment is you really get some data behind where we're at. You know, people have different perspectives based on where they are in the community. But what we really want to do is have a better, accurate, and data-backed picture of what the community is expressing and shares with us.
Thank you, Ms. Dumas.
All right, and Member Lugar.
It looks like from the literature provided in our packet that there are a considerable amount of cities already participating in this with some real successes. I really like this idea. I like the idea of kind of having that guidance and support as we move through the process of, like Member Schilling said, embracing some very inclusive policies and strategies for including our senior citizens in our community. I think that's really important. So I think this is a great idea, and I'm absolutely behind it.
Great, thank you. I would kind of like to repeat everything what everybody said, and working in the senior community like I do, as my day job and going to all these different communities. And I think it's super important that we make sure that we're inclusive of our seniors. And that's been a goal. We've written that on our goals for city council the last 3 years, I believe, 2 or 3 years, or maybe since I've been mayor. But I think it's a great program. And, you know, we receive AARP at my house and we're not of that age. So I don't know where they get that information. So some people are luckier than others, I guess. All right, so do we need a vote on this then, Mr. Linwood? Or I suppose we do, that we're in agreement of the proclamation and the support? Okay, so we need a motion to approve the proclamation supporting applications into the AARP network of age-friendly cities and community initiative. I will make that first. I'll make it easy. Do we have somebody who will make a second?
Member
I
Lugar.
will make a second.
Wow, we've got a second and a third going on. So how about Member Lugar making that second? Is that okay?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, and okay, Member Onsted's good. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do roll call, please. Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
Member Onsted.
Aye.
Member Lugar.
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is an aye. We will move on to number 12 on our agenda to consider resolution 21-04-34, a resolution approving the final plat of Hunter Hill. And I believe Mr. Weck is gonna start with that.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor and council members, Mr. Perry Adlin is in tonight to request final plat approval of the Hunter Hill development. It was previously called Adland West, which is the one lot that was approved for final plat about 6 months ago, I think. So the outlot A was the area containing all the remaining 14 lots. They're ready to begin construction on the public improvements and would like to get final plat approval. We're at this point for getting the public improvements started. We just need signatures on the development agreement to execute that, and then the construction surety, and then they'll be ready to go to start construction on the development itself. So the Planning Commission held a public hearing. They're recommending approval as well as the staff with the 8 conditions listed in the resolution. If you have any questions, I'm ready to take some.
All right, we'll go ahead and again, by each member. Member Onsted, do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions.
Thank you. Member Yeager.
On page 4, you talk about replacing trees and replacing trees on a 1-to-1 ratio with category A trees. What's a category A tree?
One moment. So for category A trees, if it's a coniferous tree, their final height would be 12 to 24 feet. For hardwood deciduous, diameter would be 6 to 20 inches in diameter for the size of the tree when it's adult. So we're looking, these would be the smaller size trees, not for the, like oaks would be a category B tree. This would be more like a maple and those kind of trees that are a little bit smaller for that. And I couldn't tell you which, off the top of my head, what kind of pine trees would qualify.
Okay, but when they're put, how big are they when they're put in?
They're bald saplings. So a 1 to 2 inches caliper diameter.
All of them are saplings.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thanks.
All right, Member Schilling?
I have no questions on this.
All right, and Member Luker?
I have no questions.
All right, and I have none either. So with that, I need a motion to approve resolution 21-04-34, a resolution approving the final plat of Hunter Hill. Do we have a motion to approve?
Member Luger, so moved.
Member Luker makes the first. Do we have a second?
Member Schilling will second.
Member Schilling makes that second. Roll call, please. Member Yeager?
Aye.
Member Onstead?
Aye.
Member Luker?
Aye.
Member Schilling?
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is an aye. It does pass. Moving on to number 14 on our agenda, to consider resolution 21-04-35, a resolution approving a rezoning from the rural residential 1R district to the office and healthcare district OHC at property identification number 21.1112.00 and 21.11123.00. Mr. Weck, are you taking this one?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and council members, this is a package deal coming up for the next two resolutions also, but the first one with the rezoning, in order to develop the land, other than one single family dwelling, would need to be rezoned into what our comprehensive plan has it guided for, which would be the office and healthcare district. One of the permitted uses in the office and healthcare district is housing for the elderly, basically. So 55 plus housing. So this kind of ties into the AARP conversation we just had. This is very similar to their adjacent development, the Hines Lake Villas. This is Hines Lake Villas North. So again, a kind of continuation of that plat. But the first thing they need to do is rezone it. So the Planning Commission is recommending approval of the rezoning. There are no conditions on that approval.
All right, thank you. Member Yeager, questions?
No questions.
Member Schilling?
No questions.
Member Onstead?
No questions.
Member Luger?
No questions.
And I have none either. So we will need a motion to approve resolution 21-04-35, a resolution approving a rezoning from the rural resident 1 district to the office and healthcare district at the property identified number. And we can add that, can't we? Instead of me reading that all out.
Yes.
So, all right. So we need a motion to approve.
Member Schilling, so moved.
Member Schilling makes the first. Do we have a second?
Member Onstead, so moved.
Member Onstead makes that second. Roll call, please. Member Yeager?
Aye.
Member Onstead?
Aye.
Member Luger?
Aye.
Member Schilling?
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is an aye. It does pass. Moving on to number 15 on our agenda, to consider resolution 21-04-36, a resolution approving a conditional use permit for a planned unit development in the Shoreland District, a property identification number 21-11122.00 and 21.11123.00. Mr. Weck.
Yes, Madam Mayor and council members. If you were look at the preliminary plat drawing that the applicant submitted, the planned unit development on the Shoreland District allows them to develop in tiers, and it controls the density of those tiers in relation to the how close they are to the lake. And and allow them to have that increased density, they need to provide a green space area. So the area surrounding all the single family homes, detached townhomes, it would be the green space. So the development could never grow any larger than what it is right now. The Planning Commission held a public hearing. There was no public comment, and they're recommending approval of the conditional use permit for the planned unit development in the Shoreland District with the conditions stated on the resolution.
All right, thank you. Member Luger, any questions?
I have no questions.
Member Onstead,
No questions.
Member Yeager,
Does this proposal take up the entirety of the 2 lots?
Yes.
Okay, and so then the lot, what is that, east?
Kind of east and north,
Yeah,
but yes.
the next lot next to it, however that gets developed is however that gets developed then.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
all right, Member Schilling?
No questions.
All right, and I have no questions either. We need a motion to approve resolution 21-04-36, a resolution approving a conditional use permit for the planned unit development in the Shoreline District at property identification number 21.11122.00 and 21.11123.00. Do we have a motion to approve?
Member Schilling, so moved.
Member Schilling makes the first. Do we have a second?
Member Onstead, second.
Member Onstead makes a second. Roll call, please. Member Yeager,
Aye.
Member Onstead,
Aye.
Member Luger,
Aye.
Member Schilling,
Aye.
and Mayor Iverson is an aye. We're moving right along. All right, we're going to go to number 16 to consider resolution 21-04-37, a resolution approving the preliminary plat of Himes Lake Villa at property identification number 21.11122.00 and 21.11123.00. Mr. Weck.
Mayor and council members, similar to the conditional use permit application, no real changes in the lot layout. So again, the Planning Commission held a public hearing. There was no public comment, and they are recommending approval of the preliminary plat with the conditions listed in the resolution.
All right, thank you. Member Schilling, any questions?
I have no questions.
Member Yeager,
No questions.
Member Onstad,
No questions.
Member Luger,
No questions.
and Mayor Iverson is no questions. We need a motion to approve resolution 21-04-37, a resolution approving the preliminary plat of Himes Lake Villas North at property identification number 21.11122.00 and 21.11123.00. Do we have a motion to approve?
Member Luger, so moved.
Member Luger makes that first. Do we have a second?
Member Onstead will make the second.
Member Onstead makes that second. Roll call, please. Member Schilling,
Aye.
Member Yeager,
Aye.
Member Onstad,
Aye.
Member Luger,
Aye.
and Mayor Iverson is an aye. And it really seriously helps if everybody's participating with those motions first and second, please. All right, we're going to go on to number 17 to consider the hiring of Jack Breitbach as a full-time officer with the city of Wyoming effective July 21st. Chief Hoppy, did I pronounce his last name correctly?
You did, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and City Council, we do have a vacancy in the police department. One of our officers, Matt Pavla, after 13 plus years, has retired, leaving us with a vacancy. To fill that vacancy, we're looking at our eligibility list that we've recently created back at the end of 2020 and the start of 2021. And we're down to our next candidate. Jack was Mr. Breitbach was one of our top candidates, but at the time he wasn't eligible because he had to finish his college degree. He will be finishing up college here this month, or actually next month in May, and his skills program as well, and will be eligible in July of 2021. He has gone through our entire hiring process, passed our background check. Mr. Breitbach is also part of our police reserve unit for the last 3 years. has done an outstanding job for us there, and we're looking forward to adding him as a permanent staff and the position as a police officer. So he comes to us with a bachelor's degree out of Mankato State University. Like I say, he's been with us for about 3 years as a police reserve, doing an outstanding job for us as well. He works currently as a community service officer for Mankato Public Safety. And we're excited to be able to bring him on in July once he passes his final exam. I'll stand for any questions.
All right, thank you. Chief Hoppy, I'd like to start first, please. Our philosophy in the city of Wyoming and our policing is community, correct? That's what we build everything around is community, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and our last officer came from the city of Wyoming, grew up here. And I believe Officer Breitbach is also a kind of a community resident. He's just one city over, correct? So knows the city of Wyoming really well.
Mr. Breitbach lives in Forest Lake, but has spent a considerable amount of time in Wyoming. His family has owned a business in Wyoming for decades. So he's very familiar with the city of Wyoming, and we're very familiar with him. And he wants to be able to come back and serve one of his hometown communities.
And I'm going to ask this question: how important is that to be able to have officers that have grown up in this community based on our philosophy or your philosophy of how our community policing is?
You know, when we talk about community policing, one of the major components is really developing this relationship with the people that you serve. You know, whether you live here or you work here, we look at longevity, but having, you know, a real understanding of what we refer to as the quality of life issues in Wyoming, and having grown up here certainly gives that, you know, an advantage coming in, you know, because your friends are here, some of your relatives are here, you've spent time here growing up. So you really have a comprehensive understanding of what this community is all about. But, you know, in addition to that, you know, I like also looking at our reserve candidates, you know, and I'm excited when they come through our system. Not all of them actually, you know, meet our final criteria. But when we do have some that do meet that final criteria, I'm excited to see that, you know, because they bring just that much more knowledge of us as an organization. And usually those that do well in our system as reserves do very well in our system as officers. You know, we have Officer Thomas, who is our investigator, which was once a police reserve, that is now one of our officers as well. And so it's really exciting to see that as a leader, that, you know, not only have they come from our community, you know, they've grown up here, they've got, you know, the parents have businesses here, they've been part of a reserve program. And what it really demonstrates is a commitment to our organization, and a commitment to our community, and a commitment to our business owners, and a commitment to our residents, that they want to be part of this community going forward. They like what they see, they're excited to come. And that's a big component of community policing, that they feel as guardians of our communities rather than warriors. And that's extremely important to me, and one of the characteristics that I look for when we're hiring officers.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll open it up to other questions. We'll start with Member Schilling.
I actually had no questions, but I think, Chief, you did answer it. I do believe this was the second one from our hometown here as well. And you did repeat that. So I don't have any questions at all. I'm looking forward to welcoming him aboard. So.
Awesome. Member Yeager.
No questions.
Member Onstad. And you're on mute.
Only question I have is, how do I do that mute button? No questions.
All right, thank you. It'll be a great day when we don't have to worry about those mute buttons, right? All right, Member Lugar.
I have no questions.
Perfect, and that was all of my questions. So we need a motion to approve the hiring of Jack Breitbach as a full-time police officer with the city of Wyoming, effective July 2021. And I'm actually, because I so believe in our police and our what we have to in our community, I'm going to make that first. So I'll make the first motion. Do we have a second?
You have a second with me. Onstead makes the second.
Awesome. Member Onstead is that second. Roll call, please. Member Lugar.
Aye.
Member Onstead.
Aye.
Member Yeager,
Aye.
Member Schilling,
Aye.
and Mayor Iverson is an aye. So we look forward to welcoming him in July as full-time. All right, we're on number 18 on our agenda, a proclamation celebrating Arbor Day in Wyoming. Miss Dumas, yay!
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, members of the City Council, before you is a proclamation celebrating Arbor Day in Wyoming. The City Council has expressed great interest in supporting trees in the Wyoming community. Last year, the City Council applied to be a part of the Tree City USA program, which we were accepted into. And staff has been continuing to work to expand our tree program and support our green infrastructure throughout our city. The Park Advisory Commission serving as the Wyoming Tree Board, getting updates and providing some guidance to staff regarding our tree program. So we're really excited about all the progress that's been being made around that, and looking forward to celebrating this upcoming Arbor Day with that great energy and momentum that the city has been developing. And with that, I'll stand for questions.
That's awesome. Anytime we can celebrate, it's a good thing, right?
Absolutely.
So, that's great. All right. I have no questions, so we'll start with Member Luger. Any questions tonight?
No questions.
None. All right. Member Onstad.
No questions, but I'm really glad about this happening.
Member Yeager.
No questions.
Member Schilling.
No questions.
All right. So we need a motion to approve the proclamation celebrating Arbor Day in Wyoming. Who wants to make that first?
Member Luger will make that motion.
Member Luger makes the first. Do we have a second?
Member Schilling.
Member
Makes
Schilling
the
makes
second.
this. Member Schilling makes that second. All right. Member Yeager.
Oh, aye.
All right. Member Onstad.
Aye.
Member Luger.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is very excited to say yes on this. So that does pass. All right. Number 19. To discuss the current status of Senate omnibus. I won't say it right. Omnibus. Yeah, whatever. We know what that word is, right? Rob, you're laughing at me. I can see that. So, all right. Senate File 969 and Senate File 915. And we're going to have Mr. Linwood, I believe, discuss this a little bit, and we'll kind of go from there. And please state that name that I'm not pronouncing, just so everybody knows what I'm talking about.
I know I'm having trouble. Omnibus Bill SF 969 and SF 915. Mayor, members of the council, this is something that we added fairly late in the day to the agenda, but we thought there was importance to it. We've been watching this with updates from the League of Minnesota Cities. And today, the SF 969 was actually passed and heading to the conference committee to beginning continued discussion. And we wanted to bring it to the council to at least get some feedback on this. And if we wanted to do anything more on a formal action or feedback for staff. The concern from a staff level, the city level, and from a, I guess, land use is that basically this bill would preempt a lot of our city zoning and land use authority, especially with planned unit development conditions and aesthetic conditions. This has been something that the League of Minnesota Cities, Greater Minnesota Cities, Greater Coalition, a lot of our different entities that we work with have been someone who has sustained this. National Home Builders has been lobbying this and saying that the main reason that they want this is that the cities are responsible for a lot of these fees that right now builders are facing, which I guess from our viewpoint and standpoint that we disagree with that strongly, that mainly that's due to a lot of the increased cost that we're seeing in labor and lumber supplies and things like that. And frankly, that we know our communities better than the legislation does, and that to be able to address those local zoning needs, it's something that we do best. Some of the limitations that are most, I guess, extreme and eyebrow raising to us is in parts of the bill, there's some verbiage in regards to limitation on aesthetic mandates. A municipality shall not condition approval of a building permit, subdivision development, or planned unit development on the use of specific methods, design, amenities, or other aesthetic conditions that are not required by the state building code. This would essentially remove almost all of the city zoning control and architectural standards. So this is something that, like I said, that we have a lot of concerns about. I know the league has a lot of concerns about. This is that preemptive zoning is what we wanted to talk about tonight. This was authored actually by our local Senator Mark Coran. So I know that many of you know him, I know him, but something that I think we wanted to just talk to you about tonight and get some feedback and see where you stand on this. I know a lot of other communities are, like I said, vehemently against this, but we wanted to at least bring it to the council's attention if you're not aware of it. With that, I can stand for any questions. And I don't, Mayor Iverson, forgive me, I don't know, Councilmember Schilling, I know that you're probably somewhat familiar with this being in your line of work at West St. Paul. I don't know if you'd have anything that you wanted to add to.
Oh, I'd like to add a lot to it. Not even slightly in favor of either one. First, let's start with the 915. Exactly like you had said, Rob, this is going to strip our authority on how developments are put together. PUDs are put together 90% of the time is because they want to get more density in an area. It's what I've seen in the last couple of years while we've been on here. And what this also, if I was reading it correctly, and you may correct me if I'm wrong when I was reading this, I have a single family home here. We can put a fourplex right next door. We don't have to meet setback requirements because the building code says if you build it properly, you can build it right onto the property line. So there's a lot of this I don't like about it. And I've heard the arguments over the last couple of years through hearings and so on and so forth. And, you know, some of this started with building permit fees, and it makes me laugh when I hear this stuff being discussed that, you know, developers can't afford the building permit fees, the development fees that the cities are charging. But I fail to understand how they can't afford it when we're putting homes up so fast we can't even build them fast enough. Lumber prices are through the roof because the lumber is being consumed. As well as pandemic. This takes away neighborhood feels, and I got to be honest, I looked through most of the people supporting this bill. I mean, most of these people are going to be long gone before it even happens, so it's not going to affect them personally either. Our homes are our investments, our communities are our investments. We have industrial areas. There's a lot of things in a lot of areas on this that's just so shaky to me, and I don't like any of it at all. Not only that is if you put this in the hands of the state, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm young. I'm 48 years old. Anytime you hand anything to the state, it takes 10 times as long and it costs 4 times as much. So how are they going to staff this? How are they going to prove this? You have how many municipalities and cities throughout the Twin Cities metro area? It's just none of this makes any sense to me, and I can't believe it's gaining any steam, to be honest. I am completely against them both. So.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to reserve my comment to the end. So I appreciate your insight onto that, Member Schilling. Member Luker?
I echo a lot of what Member Schilling said. This is not something that I'm comfortable letting go of local control on. And I guess just for public record, I'm wondering, Mr. Linwood, if you are able, or Mr. Weck, let's say this passes through committees and all of that in the legislature today. In 10 years, what impact does this have to our community culture, and what impact does this have to our building department?
Part of it's going to be development driven. So nothing may happen, or we, like Mr. Schilling spoke of, fourplexes going into areas where it was set for a single family dwelling. And I agree, if it's built correctly, everything can be right up on the property line. For example, tonight's PUD with the Shoreland District, one of those trade-offs to get them that extra density was the green space. That part of it would go away. And that's the only trade-off we really require for the developers, is to provide some of that green space. Maybe some other cities do something different, but that was where our trade-off is. It's hard to say, but even right now, one of the things that we have for in all the residential R districts if you're going to build a shed over 200 square feet or a garage, the roofing and siding have to match the house. That's an aesthetic quality. If I can't issue the building permit, if I'm going to make them do that. So what we've been trying to get rid of is all the pole barn looking structures. We're going to be back into a bunch of pole barns, and even could have pole barn looking homes, because again, we aesthetically, we don't regulate too hardly. We just say the exterior has to have appearance of wood or masonry. So, but again, that would go away. So it's going to really depend on how the developers come and I don't want to say feed on the city, but it feels like that. If you remember about 6-7 months ago, where we removed the storm shelter requirements from the ordinance, that was the National Association of Home Builders that had us get rid of that too. So again, I'm not in favor of it either.
All right, thank you. Member Onstad?
I don't know enough about this bill to make too many comments. I just hope that we are able to retain control over what we do within our city and not have oversight from an outside entity or anything that would, we want to bring builders in, but I don't want them calling the shots. I'd rather that be up to the city.
All right, thank you. Member Yeager?
When you talk about the preemptive zoning, you talk about duplexes and fourplexes, but this also apply to things like detached townhouses in an area that's had, basically single family homes?
It could.
Good.
I saw that on the minutes I got today.
It could, and I think that's, as we talked about that, a lot of that zoning code in regards to setbacks and those design standards and what it may be, that would be lost in this loss of our local zoning control. And then, something that we would be essentially at the mercy of in regards to that. So it could really change that subdivision or planned unit development and what could go where, and that design and the aesthetic, as Mr. Weck spoke about. So that's the biggest concern. This is a very large omnibus bill, but this is the preemptive zoning is really the part that we're interested in, because we have a lot of people, saying this is just it's over assertion in regards to we lose so much control with this. And this is really the piece that we wanted to try to get feedback tonight from the council.
And the capping of fees, is that included anywhere in that omnibus bill?
I don't believe it is, council member. And not that I'm aware. The league at one time had looked at that, but I think that's all since been removed. I know it was referenced, but I think that was an older article.
Okay. I remember some years ago, it came before council about the question of local control and zoning. And as in then and now, I don't want to give up our control to the state.
All right, thank you. I just feel like I need to make the following statement regarding this. And I'm very sad and very saddened by the fact that our own state representative over the course of the last 3 or 4 years has every year authored a bill that is taking away control or trying to take control away from local government. And I think all of us that are in local government know that we are the closest to the people and we know what is best for our residents and our community. I know that right now this bill, the Senate bill and the House version both passed, which means that this has to go to conference committee and they have to work out their differences. I was with mayors this morning, Chisago County mayors, and I thank each and every one of them because we work really well together, and we're going to work as hard as we can to make our voices heard with Senator Coran, Representative New, Representative Johnson, anybody that is close into our district. So it's sad that I believe, looking at the National Home Builders, they're a lobbying group and they spend millions and millions of dollars on trying to take away our control of our local government. And I'm very sad to know that our representative is not representing us in our city. So I'm glad that we're all on the same page with this. I know that I'm working hard behind the scenes. If anybody would like to join me on that, I welcome that. I also know that many of our Chisago County cities, their mayors and their cities are really working behind the scenes as well. So definitely let me know if you would like to help join in that. And I would definitely say you need to get a hold of Senator Cran, Representative New, because they do represent us. So we need people in state and federal government who should be elected in city first and understand how cities work, right? And how close we are to the committee. So that's my soapbox with that. So I appreciate this conversation and what it means for our city. So Mr. Linwood, do we then need any type of official vote on this?
No, I think that's up to the city council as a whole. We did provide some examples of letters and different things, and by all means, if that was the direction the city council wanted to go, we could certainly do something similar to that. If the council's more comfortable with reaching out to those representatives individually or as a team to talk about those and then voice our concerns with it, that's perfectly acceptable too. I think kind of up to the council as a whole what they feel would be most effective.
Okay, so with that, what I'll do is I'll kind of go around the room and ask each member what you would like to do. And majority will rule on that. I know me personally, I would like to send a letter that's with all of our names on it. That would be my first course of action. And then after that, you can kind of let me know from there. So with that, Member Lugar, what would you like to see done with this?
I would support signing a collective letter. I would also support if we as a county had support across different municipalities and could also send a collective letter on that front, I would be happy to put my name on it.
Awesome, thank you. Member Yeager?
I'm looking at the letter here. Yeah, I don't have any problem with putting my name on a collective letter with that. When I look at the letter as an editor, might want to rephrase a few things so it doesn't sound like everybody else's letter and then get tossed.
Yeah, this is the example that the league had used.
Okay.
So it is as to, and we could probably try to make it a little more individualistic from our city's perspective, but this is just the template letter, if you will, be that the league has offered on this issue.
Yeah, I would like to see something a little more individual so that it catches our readers and they just don't toss it because they have half a dozen other letters of the same type.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. Member Onstad.
I'd like to see that we do some posting on social media possibly, and hopefully get members of the community also involved in this, to have them speak their voices also, not just the council, but members of the community. And I think carrying all those collective voices might ring home with some of our leaders at the Capitol.
All right, thank you. Member Schilling.
I'm in agreement with the rest of the council as well. I also plan on reaching out to both of our representatives. I never thought that this would gain any steam, honestly. I've been, seeing this on and off. I've dealt with the National Home Builders Association over the last almost 10 years because I sit on the 10K board of directors as well. They are straight up a lobbying group to reduce their costs to increase their profit. It has nothing to do with anything other than that. So I will be reaching out to both of them, and I will absolutely put my name on a letter.
Perfect, thank you. I know that I'll be reaching out to other senators and representatives that do not represent us as well. So it's going to take all of us, I think, during this this next round to make sure that this doesn't happen. So, all right. So, Mr. Linwood, it looks like then that you'll kind of draft a letter and send that out. Okay. You're on mute.
I certainly can, and yes, I can do. I'll draft that and send that out. And yeah, thank you for the discussion. And sorry for the late addition, but with the momentum on that passing today, we thought it was pertinent to get it in front of you.
Yeah, and let's get our representatives to know that stay out of our control of our city. We know best. So that's my 2 cents on that. Can we also, Mr. Linwood, I know that we're going to work with other municipalities as well. That's already been talked about with some of the mayors. Can we kind of take the lead on that as well?
Certainly, yeah. I have talked to some other city administrators in the county, and they are the same opinion as we are in regards to this piece of legislation. So certainly we can do that and see it to Councilmember Lugar's suggestion. Maybe we can put something together more holistically as a county as well.
And maybe we need to invite our representatives to come to a council meeting someday and just kind of ask any questions that we might have. So, all right, I appreciate that. We are on the last agenda item, which is council reports. So we will start with Member Lugar.
I attended the work session on, I'm forgetting the 7th. I think we probably covered that at the last meeting though. So I have no report.
Thank you. Member Onstad.
I attended the work session also, and I was in part of the planning commission last Tuesday.
All right. Thank you, Member Yeager.
Yeah, I attended the work session and I was at last night's sewer commission meeting. At the meeting, we learned that the lift station project was progressing, that ammonia is higher than staff would like to see it, but they tried some new chemicals that showed significant improvements. We heard a presentation from Baker Tilly about a long-term plan as part of the PFA loan. They are their financial data projects a 1.75% yearly increase in rates to make it all work. And at the end of the meeting, we had a discussion about some rental land. The commission rents out 7.5 acres to a local farmer, but unfortunately the commission has been having problems collecting the rent from the local farmer for the last 2 years. So staff and legal is going to look at options like terminating the agreement, and it should be brought up again sometime this summer. And thank you all for watching, and that's my report.
All right, thank you. Member Schilling.
I actually also attended the work session. I wasn't very good in that, so I apologize to the public. I just had surgery and got out of it an hour previously. I am officially done with all those. I'd like to thank everybody for watching tonight. I appreciate it. And that is my report.
And we are very happy that Member Schilling is now bionic. So
yes.
We're happy for that. All right. So I attended the Economic Development Authority Committee. I attended the Planning Commission meeting. I attended the work session meeting. I attended the Sewer Commission meeting as well. I attended tonight's equalization hearing, and then, which was tonight, and then also today, the city. So Mr. Linwood and I hosted the League of Minnesota Cities and the mayors from other Chisago County cities, just to kind of let them know where we're at, what we're doing. And I love the fact that they asked if there's anything they can do better. So that's awesome when an organization can do that. So it was a busy couple of weeks. I would also like to say this. So Officer Pavla, if he's watching and if his family is watching, and there was a great tribute on Facebook as well, I would like to thank you, Officer Pavla, for 13 great years of service. I think the first time we met, I was working at one of our local businesses, and we had a break-in and you were investigating, and it was like 4 in the morning or some crazy time. So just really appreciate all of your service, and also thank you to your family. I know it can't be easy that every day they walk out the door, your loved one walks out the door and is protecting our community. So I would again like to say thank you. We wish you the best. And I know we're going to see you around in our community from time to time. So I don't know if any other council member would like to say anything with that. If you do, just quickly, I'm looking. So Member Schilling would like to. He's looking. No, you're all right.
I just love the tribute, and I will second your sentiment there. I there's nothing else for me to add. So yeah, it was an honor to have him here.
It really has, and it'll be, we're happy that he's safe. We're happy what he's doing, and just grateful that he was in our community. So, all right, let's see. I do know that we were hoping to have an update by Mr. Linwood and Mr. Erickson regarding all of the construction that's going on. It's going to be very interesting. I don't want to say tough, but it's going to be very interesting. And the only thing I can say to everybody that's going to be listening to this, please look at social media. Please reach out to the city with any questions that you might have. So with that, Mr. Linwood and Mr. Erickson will take over.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I'm just going to make sure I have up the detours for us to look at here and just discuss briefly. I'll give a quick overview of the project here first. Again, the sanitary sewer on East Viking from Fallbrook to Fenwick is being upsized to accommodate future growth within the community. We talked about a number of developments here this year in and of itself. The Summerfields project that had received approvals, and Himes Lake North also receiving approvals. These are necessary improvements to help accommodate that growth. The city was originally designed to accommodate a certain area. That area has expanded with the annexation of the township. And so just wanted to give a little bit of background on why this improvement is taking place. We had a pre-construction meeting with our contractor, Keekly Underground, last Thursday, and they have since put together a schedule. They'll be starting on the construction actually on Monday of next week. You have all seen the advanced signage go up, noticing the construction work and the detours that will be involved. There's been a lot of legwork up front. This has been ongoing for a couple of years, working with MnDOT to coordinate both our project and their project. Their project is also under construction with Valley Paving. And so that work really is from 8 all the way north through Wyoming and out to I-35. And so it's a significant project. It is a significant impact to people that utilize both 61 and East Viking. And so with that, we've developed a number of communication tools throughout, where we've worked with businesses, residents, and things of that nature. And so we've developed on our website, and these have gone out in mailings as well. But on our website here, we've provided some detours. The first project, or the first portion of this project, really will extend from the east side of 61 west. There'll be construction of that sanitary sewer that will completely tear up that roadway, and will be inaccessible. And so we've developed various detours, both local, which is shown on the map here for local traffic, and then more of a regional detour for those that just are passing north through and not stopping in Wyoming, which is out 97 north on 35 all the way up to Stacy. And so pretty significant detours. We do expect that this is pretty disruptive. This is our main intersection and our only access really to 35 here. And so there's been a lot of effort into that. We just want to make sure people are aware of the upcoming work. And Mr. Linwood, I'm not sure how much more you wanted to elaborate into this and how much more detail you wanted to provide, but I'd certainly be happy to answer any questions that you have, and I'll let Mr. Linwood add on to the discussion here.
No, I think you did a good job, Mark, going through it. And I think we just wanted to really point out that first stage that starts on Monday, April 26th. And we know that we've been communicating with the council and the community and the property owners on this, but just to really, if people are watching tonight, and we'll be doing social media posts throughout the week, just to really try to let people know that this is coming, and there'll be some challenges local and then the regional detours. So more than anything, just try to, it'll take people a little bit. Those first 2 days will probably be more challenging, and then people will understand that it's there and it'll be there for a while. And we'll keep the council updated as that detour area, it does change throughout the project and how that flows. So we'll try to keep the council as those stages of work are being completed and done.
And Mr. Linwood brought up a good point with the traffic control changes. When significant changes like this, the first few days are oftentimes the most challenging until people get accustomed to the changes in traffic flows that are there. the short-term pain is certainly going to be worth the long-term gain. We do have a signal that will be installed at Fallbrook as well. And I know that's been a long-term concern of the city and residents and businesses in the area with access at that location. And so that's in addition. And then we also have some signal improvements at 61 and East Viking as well. So certainly looking forward to having this project completed. Certainly it will be disruptive, but certainly we'll end up with a great project in the end.
Awesome, thank you. I would just like to state that the businesses, Tasty Asia, Linwood Pizza, Subway, the liquor store, haircut, all of that is still going to be open. So it may seem kind of difficult to work your way around that, but I know that there's a marketing plan to let everybody know how to get there, to get to your favorite places over there. So just watch for that. And the city does such a great job keeping everybody updated. So, just make sure you reach out. So, all right, I believe that's it for the night. And the last thing is to adjourn. And I'm just looking at everybody. I don't see anybody shaking their head that they don't want to adjourn. So with that, I'm actually going to call to be adjourned, and adjournment time is at 8:15. So I hope everybody has a great couple of weeks, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Right.